Hello guys, Inslayerclone here, friendly neighborhood incel, back again with another video. Back again, I guess, I want to make some more videos, on YouTube and shit. Just to fill up my library, I guess, so it's now, since with the terminations and with, when I mass purged my channel back in 2024 and stuff because of the strikes, AI strikes, so it is what it is, I guess. But anyway, I guess this video is going to be all about, most people is there, they are the problem. You are the problem, right? Worst enemy, whatever you can type it, I guess worst enemy 2. The video I made in 2023, I think. Was it 2023? I think it was, yeah. I definitely 100% believe that most people are their biggest enemies. They are their biggest, villains and stuff in their lives, 100%. I personally think I'm also my own enemy. I'm not saying there isn't bigger enemies in people's lives. There's probably some villains that in your life that are living in your life right now and stuff. But 100% believe so. The main enemy that you have to conquer is yourself. You know. So I was watching some videos and stuff. I think it was today actually. YouTube videos and stuff about B actors, B movies and shit. If you guys know what B movies are, B movies are pretty much video movies that don't go on the big stream. They go to direct to video and think. I think that's what it is. So it kind of, I guess it was the indies films, but back then in the 70s, 80s, 90s. I guess they still make B movies now. I guess, but since we live in the consumer age, the digital age and stuff, the digital age, whatever, you know, if you guys know we live in the digital age, I think the term B movies don't really exist as much as they used to exist. Probably they still exist, but they're kind of just middleware movies at this point, because of you got indie movies that I guess that's what they've always been called. I guess indie movies. I guess they just called them B movies at the time because I guess they went to videos. I guess they didn't go to the big screen. Big screens, A-list movies and stuff. They will be streamed at cinemas first before going to videos and stuff. And it'll be all the cinemas around the world, I guess. And B movies is just you get them on the disc. But anyway, I guess that's what the explanation I was getting. So I was watching a lot of videos and stuff like that. I mean, it's this channel. I think it's an AI channel actually that does reviews of these female B movie actors and stuff like Judy Stray. I think she's a B movie actor. She's dead actually. Died in 2000. I think Judy something. I can't. It's Judy Stray or something like that. She died in 2021. By a brain head injury or whatever. But yeah, she died in 2021. They thought most of the fans thought she was dead in 2020, but no, she was still alive and stuff. Maybe not as alive as it is, but she was alive and stuff. But she died in 2021. She was a B movie actor. She used to do let's just say, I mean, very degenerate movies, I guess. Maybe not degenerate, but she used to do those types of movies, I guess. Not the true degenerate hub movies, of course. I don't want to say the word because I'm in public, of course. You know what I'm talking about if you're on the internet, I guess. She used to do the that type of movies you see on Movies for Men, I guess, back in the past. And I guess she was the any B movie freaking studio wants to call her up and shit. And she did an animated movie as well called Heavy Metal 2000 and stuff, and she was the character and stuff. Which I actually watched the movie. I think it was a pretty good movie actually. Yeah, I guess it has some very explicit scenes. Some of them, very explicit animated scenes. Maybe not that explicit. Not the first movie. The first movie is very explicit animated scenes, but the second one is just very tamed and shit. But actually, I really enjoyed watching the movie. I think it's pretty cool. I guess I wish they made a new heavy metal movie. I guess, you know, I think it would be more popular now because of the society that we live in, because of like the digital age and stuff. Back then in the 2000s and stuff, he just released everything on DVD and stuff. So he pretty much had to like, had to cut corners. I guess not cut corner. What's the term? Yeah, I guess cut corners. Is it cut corners? I don't know what you call it. Not cut corners. Pretty much what I'm trying to say that since everything was like non-digital back then in the 2000s and the 90s, I guess it was much more harder for these studios to make movies, I guess, and video games and stuff. Wow, now everything is digitalized and stuff. It's much more easy. The internet has kind of helped it out, I guess. Like I said in my last video and stuff, which actually this is like when I made my last video on YouTube and stuff in 2024. I'm doing it at the same place that I'm doing this video now. When I said about John Romero and stuff, John Carmack, id Software making Doom a digital download and stuff. You play the first Doom level and stuff, the first chapter, and then you have to buy the other chapters and stuff. You know, I guess the internet really changed the fact that everything fundamentally, and most people don't believe that it was the people at id Software and Abachi and stuff that helped stuff like Netflix come today. They don't know that. They don't know that because, well, you know, they don't really need to know that anyway because it's just what some video games from the 90s helped Netflix appear come to life and stuff like that. I guess it's not just video games. I guess musics as well, like MP3s and shit like that as well. But I guess without the people at id Software, wouldn't have Netflix, or they probably would have Netflix eventually, but we wouldn't see it in like as quickly as you see it today and stuff. But yeah, I was watching this channel and stuff, about all these female B movie actors and stuff. There's one like female B movie and stuff actor. I don't know her name. I can't remember. But she used to be like a marine biologist, right? She was studying for a degree and stuff. She's still alive today in 2025, I think. Yeah, she's still alive. She just does like audio recordings, does audio dramas, I guess, freaking true crime dramas and stuff. She pretty much does like the voiceover work for that now, instead of like being an actor in the movies, I guess. you know. And pretty much, she was like studying to be that, be like, you know, part of like the marine biology life because she liked the water and stuff, like the sea and stuff. But something went happen and stuff. Some things happened, right? She was studying and stuff like that, and you know, one thing led to another and stuff. She kind of had to. She can't do her studies anymore and stuff in the degree anymore, and she was pretty much banned for doing the marine biology life, whatever. I can't really explain the details. I mean, you can go and watch the entire documentary yourself on her and stuff on the channel I was watching on. Because there's plenty of female B movie actors and other actors as well, not just A-list actors as well, like the woman in Mad Max Fury Road as well. But yeah, I mean, there's other actors as well. It's not just her and stuff in those movies, but one specifically trying to talk to her because she was like in a Comic Con in the 70s as well. She was like a cosplayer, and she was the first one to win the first cosplay convention in the 70s in like San Diego, I think. So pretty much that as that career failed, and another door opened and up, and she became a B movie actor and played a lot of horror movies and stuff at that time and stuff. And now she is today and stuff, and doing what she actually does. So either way and stuff, she may have failed in that area. I studied about 5 years and stuff, 10 years of my life being this. Well, it didn't matter anyway because one led thing went to another and stuff, and that's what I'm trying to get towards. Like, you know, and of course, like I said, it all depends. I guess it depends on your race. It depends on where you do your geolocation and stuff. It depends on who you know, how you look. All this is a factor, You know, it's not just one thing led to another thing, led to another thing. You know, everything's a factor, which which is what it is. I myself and stuff, I may have failed what I was doing before and stuff, but there's another door that's open for me, wide open, in fact, and I'm gonna use that door immensely to get what I need to get to escape. You know, the whole purpose of this video I'm making today in 2025 is that we have to recognize who we are at the first time. That's the first thing to escape. There's a problem in your life, you need to recognize it. You know, there's many problems in my life, right, that I just swept under the rug, but I recognize those are problems that I need to fix and stuff, and that's why I fix them now in some form. Maybe not fix them 100%, but they're somewhat stabilized, right? The engines are stabilized and shit, right? And you know, at the end of the day, we are getting old and stuff, and the more you age, the less opportunities you get. I guess that's what the term is. But either way and stuff, it didn't even matter if you get those opportunities because, like I said, with the lady and stuff, she got all them opportunities. She got a high-ranking degree and stuff, and she was the highest level in her school and stuff in her class. Yet still failed and stuff. And I think she got divorced and stuff. The lady and stuff. I can't remember lady and stuff. B movie actor and shit. I just put the picture on the thumbnail, I guess. Who I'm talking about, probably some who may recognize her. I don't really recognize her since she's an 80s actor, I guess, 90s actor. Still managed to freaking build her life up and get to escape where it is, And that's why I see a lot of people, especially in my area, anyway, in my realm of existence. A lot of people, oh well, I got this job now, and I'm working in social care or in the NHS or in computering or whatever job they see, you know. To them, that's enough. Nothing else matters. Oh well, time to go to parties and stuff. That mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't go to parties, of course, but are these parties truly helping you out to get to get where you need to go towards? These parties are not helping you out to get where you need to get. One of my cousins, well, technically is an uncle, but he's like 36, 37, 38, I don't know. So he's like 20, 12 years older than me, I guess. He pretty much got. He pretty much didn't do much to get where he was. He pretty much worked here and worked there and stuff. Worked there and there, and that's how he got to where he was now. All I'm trying to say, guys, if you really want to do something in life, do it. I mean, if you want to be like Lily Phillips, if you guys know Lily Phillips, she's like an adult entertainer and stuff. If that's what you truly want to do, go ahead. I'm not stopping her. If you want to be a game developer, go ahead. You want to be like, construction worker, scientist and stuff. I know those are like, that's what I was talking about, the marine biologist that was banned for being continuing our work, I guess. Ironic and stuff, but either way and stuff, you can still do your science work. You can still do your psychological work in some areas. I mean, also I was watching this film as well. I think it was not a film. I was watching a making of a film called The Abyss, right? I think it was The Abyss. I think it's some movie with I think James Cameron made in the 80s, late 80s and stuff, right? In that movie and stuff, because of the technology he was learning and stuff, because James Cameron, he's like a crazy film actor, film creator and stuff. All the stuff he wanted the actors to be swimming underwater, so they had to learn how to swim, right? He had to design customized swimsuits and stuff. All this just to make this movie. It cost millions of dollars and stuff, right? And also the recording equipment as well for the underwater. So everything they had to do, they had to make a customized version of it. when they made the customized version of all them stuff, they actually used that for the Titanic documentary. Many of the recording equipments that they learned from the movie from Abyss, I think that's what it's called. They actually used that in the Titanic documentary, right? When they recorded the Titanic, we could documentary on Titanic. So what I'm trying to get, guys, it doesn't even matter if you don't have a degree or not. If you're doing something, go ahead, do it. I mean, at this point in time, we have to look at it from a logical perspective. Don't listen to all these people on the internet, all these conservatives and all these liberals and whoever it is and shit. At the end of the day and stuff. Oh, women are suffering. Like people like Liv Phillips shouldn't be doing what she's doing and shit because she chose to do what she's doing. Yeah, it might be upsetting a little bit, but it is what it is, I guess. We don't need to go and send out, SEAL Team 6 or the SAS to go and rescue Lee Phillips, go and rescue, all these other OnlyFans stars and, you know, adult workers and stuff. At the end of the day, they choose to do that, right? Everyone has a choice, you know? And from people like me and stuff, people like Lily Phillips and stuff like that, she decided, well, I don't want to do this all rest of my life, slaving away and shit. I mean, you're already slaving away anyway, you know? You know what I mean? So, you're already a slave anyway. Might as well just open up the camera and shit and do what I do. I myself, I don't support that type of behavior and stuff, As you guys know, this is a black pill channel, I mean, I'm not a true conservative at the end of the day. I mean, I used to be a conservative, like, the true traditionalists, like, Ben Shapiro, Alex Jones, oh, this is degenerate and stuff like that. This, that, we have to protect women and all that. But no, I'm not like that anymore. I'm just like, everything's a famous and stuff. I mean, even like Ben Shapiro and stuff. I mean, he talks about being against, adult entertainment, but the AFPAC, is funded by elephants and stuff like that. So, at the end of the day, all these people are liars, they're not telling the truth, They're not really telling the truth as it is. They're not telling how they get their money, So, either way and stuff, It's like rules for me, rules for you and shit, No rules for me, rules for you and stuff. That's how the system works, And I'm not gonna try and force myself down an agenda and stuff because people say I should do this. People say, oh well, no one has done that before. Well, if no one's done it, I will be the first person to do it. If it takes me 10 years to do it, I'll go ahead. It takes me 10 years and stuff. Just start following what people say to do. You know. Oh, you need to have a direction in life. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a direction, but at the end of the day, life is directionless anyway. You have to realize something. Life is no direction because oh well, I work up the career ladder and stuff. It means I have a direction. No, you don't. You're just working up someone else's direction, right? You're building up someone's dreams and stuff. That's what it is. What this direction is, dream, right? If you start analyzing what a direction is a dream, right? You're building someone else's direction. That's how you see it. You might get money at the end of the month from helping that person build their direction, but at the end of the day, you're building their dreams and stuff. You're not actually building your own dream. That's what I mean. Families, the same thing, right? Families, right? Well, you can't do that because it's against the family. You can't do that. It's against the traditions, I've already made a video about traditions, so I mean, I deleted it, of course, because of the 2024 AI strikes and stuff like that. But we all know traditions are there. It's just to keep you enslaved for the most part. For most of the, especially if you're I know this guy and stuff. He's like, I think he's Indian, whatever. Well, this is like a long time ago, I guess. Or it doesn't even have to be Indian. It has to be any race, But all I'm trying to say that You feel like it's like an Indian tradition and stuff. Like I saw in France, right? They like smashing coconuts on the floor for what? Oh well, because of the spirits and stuff like that. I mean, it's not making your life better. Oh, freak, it does. You know, all these traditions are stupid, right? They're not stupid. I understand why they do it because they have the. It's like a dream finality, right? But once you start looking at it from a logical perspective, you know, it isn't really benefiting you in any shapes or sizes, only beneficial reasons. Tradition is no different than you know than than like how do you call it? Being like working the corporate ladder. Well, because we did this for many years now. That's how it works. That's the rules and stuff. Yeah, it's a rules at the end of the day. That's what tradition is. It's rules. You know, it's like people still today and so in Christianity and stuff. They still believe in circumcision because that's what the rules. That's the traditions and stuff. Not maybe not Christianity. Mostly Roman Catholicism. When I'm talking about Christian, I'm talking about the Roman Catholic version of Christianity because I am Roman Catholic. Well, that's the tradition, so we have to follow them rules, I guess. We have to chop off people's private parts at birth and stuff, because that's what it says. That's the tradition and stuff. Everything at the end of the day it's all about control. It's all about how much we're gonna control your life, right? That's what it's all about. And for me and stuff, at this point in time, I've come to realization that many of these things are not benefiting me, right? Most of these things are not benefiting me in any such sizes, or any beneficial reasons, you know. You don't have to act masculine, you don't have to act feminine, whatever it is. If it's not benefiting you, why even do it, you know? So yeah, that's how I see it, man. But yeah, going back to like the B movie actors and stuff. If they just followed the rules and stuff, did what they wanted, if they followed what their society would tell them, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing today. So, especially that lady, that one, that freaking lost everything after the freaking thing and shit and got freaking divorced and stuff, practically in poverty and said, oh well, I'm gonna be a B movie actor and then do some shitty horror flicks and shit. you know. So anyway, guys, I just want to talk about this because I guess I have nothing else to talk about. I guess. I mean, I do have a lot of things to talk about, but I guess this was one of them. I guess. Either way, we'll all have a choice, I guess, and that's what I'm trying to say. You know, if you failed, let's just say you're 30 years old. I don't know. There's some people maybe 50 years old in my channel. Oh, you mean 15 years old, 16 years old? Whatever age, I'm going to use the 30-year-olds as an example because 30-year-old or 40. Let's use 40 years old. If subscriber 40 years old on my channel, right? You followed the script for many years and stuff. Followed what society asks you to do, right? Oh, get a degree at this at university, right? Now work for about 10 years. Maybe get a girlfriend. Maybe have 1 or 2 children and stuff like that. Then now you're freaking trapped. At that point, when you're 40 years old, you start to realize how freaking enslaved you are. It's already over, right? Because you followed what other people wanted to say, because they said because of the cost of living, because of like, oh, we're worried about you, you know, we're worried about you because you're not doing anything with your life. No, you don't need to be worried about me. At the end of the day and stuff, if I decide, I'm just gonna sit on this bench for the rest of my life and stuff, and I'm happy about that. If that's what I want to do, that's what it is. Of course, that's not what I want to do, of course, but the realization, guys, the actual realization that you need to understand. If you have food in your belly, you have freaking clothes on your back, you have like money in your bank account, and you have a job, you don't need to do anything else. That's what you have to realize. Everything else is sorted. Everything else doesn't even matter at that point. Of course, we need to have like doctors, and we need doctors to save other people's lives and stuff. we need to have lawyers and stuff. You know, we need to have people that are building the houses and stuff. Of course, I'm not saying that. We need all these people, in fact. But at the end of the day and stuff, it all has a cost to it. Is that what you truly want to be? You want to be a doctor? Well, I mean, I'm not going to stop you for being a doctor. You want to be a scientist? Go ahead. You know, at the end of the day, everything has a cost to it. You know, everything has a cost. All of it. You know, so I myself, do I want to be a doctor in the future? I'm not sure if I want to be a doctor in the future. I feel like I wouldn't. I won't say I wouldn't be a good doctor. I mean, I don't really know much about human body and about like surgeries and stuff like that, and about things and stuff. But I probably, if I truly wanted to be, I would learn those stuff top to bottom, you know. But I've never really shared interest of being a doctor. Maybe probably as a combat medic in like Battlefield 3 and shit or whatever and stuff. But as in like I'm gonna go into like medical research and be a freaking nurse or a doctor. No, I never really come to my mind, I guess. You know. But yeah, that's all we really gotta say for myself. I don't want to keep this video that long, I guess. But you know, people need to mind their own business. You know, which they're never gonna do because we are people at the end of the day. We are always gonna try and talk behind people's backs. You know, that's human nature at the end of the day because just like you see in like the Sith, right? You know, in Star Wars, right? They always scheming each other to stab them each other in the backs eventually. That's how most humans are, you know, right? The Jedi's and stuff. Even the Jedi's trying to scheme each other behind their backs as well and stuff in some form. Well, the Jedi's are actually much more nefarious because they are doing this. They say, oh, you need to be like this because society's exploitation, but the whole regime of the society could be evil, you know. Just like you see with freaking the like you saw with like the Transformers movies, right? It's always the bad guys in the movies, like the so-called people with the red lightsabers or like the red eyes and stuff, seem like the evil people, in the movies and stuff. Like you see with Megatron, you know, Megatron, we all see him as a bad guy when we're grown up because we see him as like he's like metal and stuff. He has like red eyes and stuff like that. The reason why we see him as a bad guy is because we see him when we would connect him to the guy from 1940s Germany. That's what we see Megatron as, and Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader. We see him as the guy from the 40s and 30s and stuff. Well, once you start pulling the strings out, start understanding what Megatron's goal is, trying to save his population from death and stuff. Go watch all the Transformers movies, 1 to 3 and stuff. All Megatron wants, he just wants the Cuban stuff to save Cybertron. He didn't care about freaking humanity. If the humans talk to Megatron, set a deal and stuff, no. Maybe we take freaking planet Venus or planet Mars and stuff. We set a new Cybertron over there instead of freaking putting it in freaking Earth, right? That's what Megatron wanted, right? But the humans decided to side with the Autobots because they look good in their perspective. They don't want to see the Decepticons' perspective, right? Decepticons been fighting for what? The Autobots and Decepticons been fighting for millions of years and stuff. And the Americans, the humans, I guess, didn't ask why they've been fighting for millions of years and stuff. They want to ask why, They just say, well, but we need to have a bad guy, and the Decepticons are a bad guy. They decided to destroy a military base, I guess, right? But I guarantee that we would do the same thing if humanity was dying. Let's just say we have having a World War III, right? Humanity was dying, right? We go to another planet, we invade that planet. We would do exactly the same thing what Megatron was doing in Transformers 1 to 3 and shit. We would do the exactly same. We did the exactly same thing, in fact, right? We did the exactly same thing, to many other countries in this country and stuff like that. But that's another video altogether, I guess. Same thing with like the Sith, right, in Star Wars and stuff. right? We see them as the bad guys because they have red lightsabers, but once you start understanding the ideology and stuff of the Sith, right, understanding that they actually just want to use the full potential of their powers and stuff instead of getting held back by a system, you start to realize they're not as bad as they are, you know. In fact, they are more good than the Jedi's they call themselves, you know. Right? Because the Jedi as well, we got like a blue lightsaber, we got like green lightsaber. It doesn't make you good, right? I can have like a freaking rainbow colored like, you know, pink lightsaber, pink clothing and stuff, but I could be the most evil person on the planet, you know. But I wear pink, you know, like freaking Barbie pink, whatever, you know. It's all perception, man, right? Everything's a perception. Everything in life is a perception. Pretty much what I'm trying to say, right? And for me and stuff, where I've come to realization, I look at myself, who I am as an individual. I look at the other people in my life. This includes my family members, maybe friends, whatever, the ones I have left anyway, maybe freaking other people I know. I look at their lives. I look at other things that hit media and stuff, maybe books and whatever. I see what I need to do, what I can gain from this person's ideas. I take that thing, I walk with it. You know, it's easy to destroy something, but it's hard to build. You know, that's what most people don't realize. You know, it's easy to like destroy an entire nation, but it's hard to build in a nation. You know, destroy a tree. You know, it's easy to just cut it down. It only takes probably like 5 minutes, but growing a tree to its full potential takes years and stuff. So anyway, guys, I just want to I just want to keep it here and stuff. You know, it's just like with my YouTube channel, right? It took probably like what 2 minutes to destroy about hours upon hours of footage, of me speaking like this that I'm now doing now, So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not gonna know what I'm gonna title this video. I guess don't be like them. I guess be independent. I guess you're your worst enemy. Part 2. I guess I don't know. Whether I title this video what it is. I guess so. And I guess you guys do like my long ass freaking recording videos and stuff like that. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about it and subscribe.